Court A, it's Uruguay against your host nation, Australia.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the 2023 FIPFA Powerchair Football World Cup. Hosts Australia about to take on their third game, and it is a match steeped in history for these two nations, Australia against Uruguay. Always a big footballing occasion whenever these two square off, regardless of the format, regardless of the location. And after winning a first game of the tournament earlier today against Argentina, Australia are hoping to take a big step towards the semi-finals if they can grab all 3 points this afternoon. Uruguay, 2 draws from their opening at 2 games. We have a fascinating match in prospect. My name is 𝐏𝐨𝐿𝐿𝐿. Joining me in commentary is Tom Byrne from Lions FC, Powerchair player in Queensland. Tom, great to have you company.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And you've seen quite a few games so far in this tournament. So before we get into the squads and the lineups, what's your read on how Australia have progressed through the tournament so far?
Well, I think they'll be certainly a lot calmer after heading up 2-1 earlier today against Argentina. They looked okay in their first game, but they're not completely outclassed by the United States 5-0 yesterday. So getting a 2-1 win under their belts now means they should be a little bit better and should be able to play their natural game today against Uruguay.
Coin toss taking place. Our referee for this match is Norden Sobovic of Austria. Assistant referees Junichi Saito of Japan and Doug Wolf of the United States. And Rebecca Giel of Australia is the 4th official. Uruguay drew both of their games 2-2 against both Japan and Northern Ireland. Australia 5-0 loss to the United States in the opening game of the tournament, but they did defeat Argentina 2-1 earlier today with a double from Abdullah Karim. And it has raised the expectation that they can go on a run just like they did back in the 2017 edition of the competition. Tom, which teams, which players have been most impressive that you've seen so far on day 2 of this Powerchair World Cup?
Well, I'll start off by talking about Northern Ireland. They haven't had a win yet, but they've certainly been a team that's played very exciting football. I had the luxury of commentating over their match against the United States earlier. They went down 3-0. They played with heart, they played with passion, and they certainly does not look like they are on their World Cup debut. However, the real talk of the tournament, I think, so far has to be the French. 2 fantastic, massive victories with massive blowout wins, and then a 3-1 game against the United States earlier today. They are absolutely on fire, and I think they are certainly solidifying as the favourites to take out this World Cup just 2 days in.
So that is the lay of the land. Warm-ups will continue. We are counting down to a 4 p.m. local kickoff here in Sydney. If you are watching, this is taking place at Quaycentre at the Sydney Olympic Park complex. And make sure you come down and watch this if you are in Sydney or you're within driving distance. Free entry. And if you or a family member needs wheelchair access, there are more than 250 viewing spots in this arena that are able to watch the action. And you've made the most of that, Tom, as well, when you haven't been commentating the games. How would you sum up Quaycentre as an arena for an event of this magnitude, the World Cup?
It is an absolutely spectacular place to watch Powerchair football. The stands, they're absolutely electric up there. I've had the luxury for the first 2 games being up there, being a fan, but now I need to be down here pitch side to watch the Australian team do their business and hopefully secure another 3 points over the next hour or so. So
if you have been watching the streams, if you've heard from word of mouth that this tournament is on, it runs all the way through until the classification games on Friday. So you've got plenty more opportunities to get down here to Quaycentre and watch the action. Jump onto FIPFA, it's FIPFA.org, and you'll be able to find the World Cup fixture and kick-off times there. Stay with us here on the live stream. We will be back after a couple of minutes as we get closer to kick-off. A 4 p.m. local kick-off about 8 minutes away. We will rejoin you soon. You're watching the 2023 FIPFA Powerchair Football World Cup. We're not far away from kickoff now as Australia take on Uruguay. We've got confirmed starting lineups for you. Australia, Chris Turnbull, Josh Merkus, number 6, 7, Abdullah Karim, and 23, David Luke. And for Uruguay, 5, Diego Nin, 7, Brian Medina, 8, Marco Diaz, and number 9, Francesco Wild, who has scored 3 of their 4 goals so far. Tom, what do you make of the change to bring Luke David into the starting lineup, and Dimitri Liolio-Davis will be starting among the subs?
I think the addition of Luke David is certainly a very positive change. I think Luke has, for the few minutes he's been on, he's been very good. He's a very effective passer, brilliant team member. I think he'll be a very effective player in this one. It'll give Dimitri a bit of time just to rest and not have to be used the entire time. So I like the change.
Don't forget you can use the Predictor app to predict the scores at the Powerchair World Cup. It is predictor.fipfa.org. That is predictor.fipfa.org. Right now it is 50% Australia, 21% for a draw, and 28% for Uruguay. So that's a pretty even balance. And the prediction time is now yours, Tom. What do you think the scoreline is going to be in this contest?
Well, if form is one thing, one could certainly say Uruguay to have a 2-2 draw, since they've had 2 of those already this tournament. I feel like Australia have enough to get through. I feel like maybe a 2-1 victory is on the cards for them.
There have been goals aplenty in this tournament so far. Even Uruguay's last game against Japan, which was 0-0 until the last 6 minutes, at which point 4 goals were scored, including one deep in stoppage time, which denied them their first win of the tournament. And so Norman Sobovic, our referee, all in readiness. The Poweroos looking to make it back-to-back wins to really kickstart their World Cup on day 2. And we're underway with Josh Merkus playing the ball out to Luke David, who's immediately tackled and caught in possession by Francisco Wild. You see he's got Fran and the number 9 on the back of his chair. 3 of the 4 goals that Uruguay have scored so far in this tournament have come from Fran. Kick in for Australia. Merkus to David into the middle. Karim. And now back to David. Great ball control from Australia and passing. Trying to move Uruguay up the pitch in order to exploit some space. Shouts for a 2-on-1, not heeded by the referee. And Brian Medina unable to find a way past Turnbull, who's able to come out of his goal and clear the ball away.
Very early pressure here against Australia. They'll have to hold on well here.
Well, this is the danger man in Wild. Let's see what he can do. Fran went for power, didn't get a huge amount, and he's going to go back and retrieve his free kick. Able to get past Luke David with a nice little move. Merkus comes across, and the ball deflects out for a goal kick. And Josh Merkus, he's probably been Australia's best player across the 2 games combined so far in the tournament. What is it that he does so well that makes him so important to this Powerchair team?
He's almost a complete package. I had the luxury of playing against him in Brisbane, although it's not much of a luxury, it's more of it's not particularly fun to play against him, but he is a fantastic player. So I believe we may have had a 2-on-1 there.
Free kick to Australia.
Yeah, to finish off on Josh, he passes, he gets in your head, he just feels like he's everywhere. He's just a brilliant player.
And he's currently holding down that central position for Australia. Normally meaning he'll inevitably drop back into defence as a shot comes in from Luke David. First time, just wide to the left of the post. And a good Uruguayan contingent is in, applauding their team, encouraging them on. They've got co-coaches Silvio Palacios and Juan Corraletti, who are both standing on the sidelines at present, earnestly watching their team on. You feel like the first goal could be so important, setting the tone for this game. And Diego Nin, the goalkeeper, plays the pass out. Brian over to Fran, and now Francisco Wild. He's urging his team on, but it's a 2-on-1 and an Australia free kick. And the two passes there, Fran and Brian, just got a little bit too close to each other.
Yeah, spacing is the most important thing in power chair football. 2-on-1 is the most common call.
Merkes is being pressed right up here by Brian Medina. But last touch was off a Uruguayan, so Merkes gets to take the restart here. Merkes, Luke David, ball deflects away. Fran defending from the front. Turnbull. Fran sweeps onto the ball. Brian, oh, nearly a great pass out to the right. Big shouts for a 2-on-1. They did seem in close proximity. Marco Diaz trying to make something happen on the right. Back to Brian with the shot, and it's blocked away.
Good coverage there by Josh Merkes. He acknowledged his keeper was out of the box.
Got back right in the right spot, but that was fluent from Uruguay. You can see that these power chair football players, they understand each other's movement there. I mean, I know that the teams are probably going to look sharper as the tournament goes on, but that was a fantastic little passing triangle they created there in order to set up that chance.
Well, you know that if you've got the triangle flowing, you're in a really good position in the match. So teams will always try and find that triangle as we wait for this next kick in.
And Wild playing the ball down to Brian, and it looks as though...
I think Karim was inside the 5 metres, so in fact, no, it's not.
What's the call here?
Well, we haven't had a signal yet, so I don't actually know what happened there.
Regardless, it's a free kick, and
it's indirect, so it would have been a 2-on-1 violation.
Takes Fran a little bit closer to the target. Can he find a teammate accurately? Diaz. And again, the Australia bench are shouting for 2-on-1 almost every time Uruguayan plays the game. I tell you what, they're perhaps going to just look to test the referee's patience here, and if they can continue to be allowed this sort of leeway, they will combine like this, won't they?
Well, we've seen plenty of coaches get yellow cards already in this tournament, so they need to be very careful of that.
Oh, Luke David, great move to open up the pitch. Karim, now he plays it to David. Luke David on the wing. The goalkeeper, Nin, comes across Merkes, and he was too close on this occasion, and that will be blown up as a 2-on-1, but it's a free kick to Australia. And is that because Diego Nin left his penalty area and thus becomes assessed the same as an outfield player?
No, it is not in fact a 2-on-1. It is a 3-in-the-box violation.
Ah.
So, of course, teams may not have 3 defenders within their defensive zone under the field position law of the game.
So Merkes goes and puts himself on the goal line. And now Abdullah Karim waits for the free kick from Luke David. Karim blocked away. Good save by the goalkeeper, Diego Nin. This is danger, though. Francisco Wild, down the right side he goes. Can he get to the ball in time? No, the ball was just rolling a little bit too quickly for him. And one thing you do see here at the Powerchair Football World Cup is players are, I understand, randomly selected to go and do speed tests to make sure no one has an unfair advantage on their chair.
So everyone will be done prior to the match, and then one will be selected afterwards at the referee's discretion. I believe it's random. There are certainly times as players where it doesn't feel like it. But yes, every chair must be beneath 10 kilometres an hour in order to be compliant with the laws of the game.
And so the manoeuvrability, like for those who've been watching the tournament, 𝐏𝐨𝐵 from France, who now has 9 goals in his 3 games. His evasiveness and his chance here for Uruguay as Turnbull was pressed by Brian, but the ball goes out for a goal kick. I mean, he moves like it looks like his chair is faster, but if everyone's getting speed tested, you know it's just how his handling and his manoeuvrability that is able to make it look like he's moving so much quicker.
So the laws of the game only say you must have a forward and backward speed of no more than 10 kilometres or 6.2 miles. Nothing about turning speed. So if your turning speed is ramped right up, referees can't do anything about it.
Well, we know that Australia, they've got their own superstar in Abdullah Karim, the MVP of the 2017 World Cup, scorer of Australia's 2 goals so far in the tournament. And his evasiveness and manoeuvrability is one of the features of his game too. Just gets in the right place at the right time.
I feel like Australia needs to drop their lines a bit here. They're playing very high, and Uruguay are using it to counter. They're going to get called out soon if this play continues. They need to do something different.
Yeah, I'm impressed by Uruguay's midfield wall that they're creating here to win the ball back quickly. Case in point, Wild. Now it's a big 50-50. And in goes Brian. He takes on Merkus and wins the duel. Brian looking for a teammate.
Good touch there by Chris Turnbull.
Turnbull stopped the ball getting to Diaz in the nick of time. And it just rolls agonisingly wide of the post. It was barely a shot. It was really more a deflection than a meaningful shot on goal from Diaz.
Doesn't matter how fast it is. If it goes in, it's a goal.
And it rolled just wide. And that's really encouraged the Uruguay fans who are starting to cheer more and more.
You get the feeling momentum is with Uruguay at the moment.
Well, earlier today, Australia, for the Argentina game, had a big class of school children, about 50 or 60, who were making a heap of noise. So they're going to need to rely on the fans that are here for them today to find their voices. 8 minutes in to this first half. Still scoreless. Wild, a chance. Turnbull with a save. And Fran turns it back into Brian. Ball takes a ricochet. Diaz and Brian blocked away.
Good positioning once again by Chris Turnbull. Karim now with the ball, able to flip it back inside to Merkus.
And Merkus, he's not able to make the return pass to Karim. Brian, Wild, and that was evasive there, but 2-on-1. Brian and Diaz too close together.
And you get the feeling this may just relieve the pressure for Australia. They've had a very, very difficult passage to play for the last 3 or 4 minutes. Merkus should be able to start slowing things down. Getting it back on the Australian tempo.
Well, he really is the firefighter in that defensive half, Merkus. He just comes across to extinguish all the opposition attacks.
That certainly is the role of the central player.
Oh, they're going to need him again here too, because look at that great tackle there coming in from Josh Merkus to deny Brian Medina.
He certainly has no fear. He'll do anything the team needs, and he's just done it there.
Uruguay have started this match really impressively. Luke David, Brian Medina, and now Diaz. Cross-court pass is going to roll off the arena and out for an Australia kick-in.
If Australia can maintain possession just for a little bit more, they might be able to head up the other end and actually hit that goal, or at least just relieve themselves.
Cross comes Diaz, saved away. Turnbull again. And it's another kick-in for Uruguay, and almost up to the 10-minute mark now, and Australia have barely spent any time in their attacking half for the last 4 minutes or so. You see Francisco Wild here directing his teammates ahead of this free kick. Didn't make the cleanest contact, but it's still going to find its way to Diaz.
It's gone through, it's a goal.
Goal for Uruguay. And it's Marco Diaz. He hasn't been as prominent as Brian or Fran, but he's the finisher here, and he makes it Uruguay 1, Australia 0.
It was a good play across the top of the box, found the player lurking in the back, near the back post, has the shot, puts it between the defensive players, and now Uruguay have the lead.
And they get reward for a sustained number of minutes of territorial dominance. Karim, the ball deflects out for a kick-in, so maybe Australia get the chance now to reassert themselves on the game. Not much of a home ground advantage at the moment, you'd have to say, for the Powerroos.
The noise has really amped up ever since that goal, and I think the feeling Uruguay may even be the home team. Calls once again for 2 from the Australian bench. It's not going to happen, though.
And the whistle does go now. Oh, free kick going Uruguay's way, and the Australia bench are incredulous that they didn't get the decision.
I think Australia need to change something up too soon. I think they may need to go to the bench even. Something has to be done, because this is just going to keep going if we play like it is now.
Brian Medina, free kick, and too difficult to control for Wild on that occasion.
I don't think that was what the plan was for that play.
Merkus to take the kick in. Luke David. And the ball deflects straight back out.
It's a 2-on-1 violation against Australia, however, so it's going to be put back more centrally.
So the referee's been red hot on some of the Australia 2-on-1s.
I think it's just a lack of communication. They need to just start talking.
Brian Medina. Deflection. Takes it wide out to the goal scorer, but only a brief look at the ball on the way through. Still going to be last touch out of Australia, though, so a kick in for Uruguay.
Not going to run the same play as last time, however.
Fran directing traffic here. He gesticulates a lot with his left arm. He uses it to point, he uses it to wave to his teammates. And Turnbull's out here blocking his free kick. Fran again, deflection, dangerous. Merkus was in the right spot on the line. Fran still trying to forge a way through, but it's ultimately out for a goal kick. And Australia just need a circuit breaker to really reposition the arena here. They need to spend a lot more time in the midfield and in their forward line, because right now it's all defending all the time.
I think if I were the coach, I might turn to Tristan Peters in this moment. He's the best communicator on this team. And I feel like that might be what Australia needs. It'll shut down the 2-on-1s at a minimum.
Turnbull comes out with a strong repel. Only as far as Brian Medina, though. And kick in Uruguay. Ball remains camped in their attacking half. Numbers back for Australia, but making sure not to give it away a 2-on-1. Brian, Fran, Turnbull well positioned initially. Both just hesitated for a moment. Now they spring into action. A burst of acceleration to try and take possession. Clever from Fran. Now Brian Medina, and blocked out for a corner. It's interesting there how sometimes players will just wait for a loose ball if it's there to be contested, and then they break rather than full pelt all the time.
Well, more often than not, control is what's most important. It's very hard to control the ball moving at speed.
Marco Diaz, 2-on-1, too close to Brian Medina. Free kick Australia, and that will provide some relief.
Luke David will take over duties from this free kick.
Luke David, 31 years old, from Melbourne City, his debut World Cup. Oh, and Brian Medina. That midfield press is what has been Uruguay's key to success so far. It's almost like they've built a wall across the halfway line, and Australia just can't cross it.
And it looks like this might be the change I called for about 2 or 3 minutes ago. It's Chris Turnbull coming off. And it's the introduction of Lions FC captain Tristan Peters. He'll take his position into the net, and a big cheer as he enters the park.
So, knowing Tristram the way you do, what is it that he's going to provide now for the Australia defence as they try and swing the momentum in this game?
Well, he's a lot more nimble at the back, and he's also a really big communicator. He will talk Australia out of this. He'll get us out of this jam if the rest of the team can go with him.
Peters, first touch. He's got to deal with Brian Medina, though. Brian is able to evade Peters initially. Still Brian Medina. The cutback's on. He's looking for Wild. No power behind the shot.
Peters there, his first introduction, he needed to stay in the box there. He got caught out and got himself nearly into a really bad 2-on-1.
Peters here is against Brian, and the whistle goes.
Got big discussions here from the Australian bench. They're asking how things aren't 2-on-1, as they themselves get penalised for it against Tristan Peters.
So a free kick opportunity in a really dangerous position here. Watch out for Diaz. He was the goal scorer, and he's trying to just position himself on the right side of the penalty box.
It's going to be across the box. It's going to be an across the box play for Francesco Wild, one thinks.
Brian to Wild. The touch is blocked away. Luke David goes for glory from inside his own half, and the goalkeeper, Diego Nin, we've barely called his name for the last 10 minutes, is able to sweep up and immediately return the ball to his team's attacking half. Brian Medina, and now Karim, nearly the fast break on for Australia, but Fran was defending from the front and did so well. Kick in for Brian. Medina takes the free kick. 1-2 with Francisco Wild. And on this occasion, the Australian defence is able to stand tough. They've got to be careful not to give away a defensive 2-on-1, though. You can see how packed that defensive area is. Wild, knocked away by Merkus. And look at that, you see there that he didn't want to get too close to Luke David there and concede the 2-on-1. So on that occasion, they were happy enough to let it roll out for a kick-in.
With Luke David on the top of the box, assuming Josh Merkus stays on the goal line, they shouldn't be a defensive 2. But they need to make sure they keep that abruptly 6 metres apart.
Medina couldn't make the most of Wild's free kick, and again, it's out for another kick. And we're down to 2 minutes to go in the first half. It has just been non-stop Uruguay pressure from about the 6-minute mark. They have 1 goal to show for it.
Uruguay will probably want to keep the ball down this end and maybe even in this routine for the next 2 minutes. It's very hard to break out of it. Wild
went for a different angle there, and Merkus had the post covered. Brian Medina.
This is better than getting the non-keeper player to come out of the box rather than the goalkeeper. Very late contact. It is a 2-on-1, but there might be a discussion afterwards about the hit on the keeper.
So Marco Diaz, the goal scorer, just getting a talking to here. Norton Subovic looks completely unflustered by the level of shouting and chat that's come from the sidelines, though. He's a cool customer.
He's done a good job refereeing so far.
And Merkus with just over a minute until stoppage time, which there may not be much, if any, as he just kicks for territory and puts it out inside Australia's attacking half at least. Can they do to Uruguay what Uruguay has done to them and win the ball back here in midfield?
They need to jump early if they're going to do it.
Brian down the line, he's going to miss his teammate there in Diaz, and it's a goal kick restart for Australia. The Poweroos 1-0 down in their 3rd game of the tournament.
It looks like this time Australia have tried to shorten up the passing lanes, but in doing so, Uruguay moves their block even further forward.
30 seconds to go of regulation time. Tristram Peters mulled over the pass. Brian with a firm strike of the ball that goes out down in the left-back corner for Australia.
This is really good fan management here by Uruguay. They're just putting the ball out of play as much as they can. No opportunities, they just lead themselves to half-time.
Brian leaves it for Merkus. And now he goes and takes the ball for himself. Francisco Wild, danger here for Australia. Diaz is trying to return it to Francisco Wild, and Fran saved by the keeper. Fran again turning left, and now here's the chance. Abdullah Karim on the quick counter-attack, and Fran has done ever so well to get back and cover him.
Australian bench appealing for 2-on-1 once more, and they're going to get it now.
They're going to get it, but almost a free kick worth conceding, you'd have to say, because the fast break, Karim was away, so they'll have to deal with this, and that might be half-time. We've ticked about 45 seconds beyond the 20.
We should let this play in, and then it will be done.
Right on half-time. A goal here would be priceless for Australia, and Brian Medina is having none of it. So a first half that has very much belonged to Uruguay. And that scoreline at half-time is Uruguay 1, Australia 0. Tom Byrne from Lions FC, Powerchair player. What is your assessment of the game at half-time?
Uruguay have certainly had control of the midfield and just the ability to send balls back towards the Australian net. Australia needs to do something to break that midfield press. Once they're able to do that, they'll be able to play that field and have some sustained possession. If we can do that, we can get it back in, but until then, I don't see a way out of this.
Stay with us here on the FIPFA Powerchair Football World Cup YouTube channel and Facebook page. We'll be back after a short break. The stream will continue and commentary will resume just as we kick off the second half. Repeating that halftime score, Uruguay 1, Australia 0.
Second half action, if you're too far away, we're going to hear from the Aussie fans. The team needs you. For the second half coming up. Uruguay leading 1-0. Ireland and Japan. Set to go shortly for the second 20.
Welcome back to live action from the FIPFA 2023 Powerchair Football World Cup. Hosts Australia in trouble at halftime, down 1-0 to Uruguay, thanks to a goal from Marco Diaz. Teo Pellizzeri and Tom Byrne with you. Tom, we're going to see Australia make two substitutions at the start of the second half. Beck Evans and Dimitri Liolio-Davis have come into the game. David Luke and Abdullah Karim have come off. What do you make of those changes to Australia's 4? Uruguay with an unchanged lineup from that started the game.
Here we go,
I like the changes. Dimitri has seen everything. He's the captain of Australia for a reason. He'll be cool and calm. He'll be able to help Australia head out. And Beck Evans is a brilliant passer. Should be able to pick out a play anywhere. She'll be useful to have for the next 20 minutes.
So Australia in need of an equaliser. Uruguay had a pretty dominant first half, and they put the ball out for a goal kick to start the second, but this is where they've been so good. Australia trying to get out of their defensive half was such an issue in the first 20. What do you think the team talk from Coach Peter Turnbull was at half-time?
Well, I think it would have been about trying to break this Uruguayan press. It's just been so oppressive so far. Suffocating almost. And that should have been the way that we, the main topic of that talk.
Marco Diaz can't make a run at the ball. Leolio Davis defending from the front here is Tristan Peters. You hear him shouting and shouting. And Merkus comes across. Leaves the ball though, because it's running out for another goal kick, and so it will be Australia's possession. It's been low scoring, this one. I get the feeling that goals are going to be so precious and so valuable in a game like this.
Goals always are a rare commodity in tight fought contests. It's very rare you see a high scoring game end with a low difference.
Francisco Wild. Merkus takes on Brian Diaz. Leolio Davis deflection. Fran came in. And it's really starting to get physical, a bit of bash and crash now. These players going with the tackles on each other, and Dimitri Leolio Davis prevails for Australia, winning a kick in. Merkus. Block tackle in midfield by Evans.
2-on-1 finally given there by the referee.
So Australia free kick just inside the attacking half now.
This might be the first time Australia fed into the other half of the field for a very long time. They need to make use of it.
Josh Merkus. And shouts that Francisco Wild was within 5 metres of the free kick taker there, but the referee decided to let it slide. Australia get the ball back in a slightly advanced position regardless.
He's certainly got that time down to perfection. Merkus needs to do something just to disrupt that routine in order to find a way to stop him getting within 5.
Leolio Davis, oh, just wide of the post. That took a swinging right attempt from Leolio Davis that very nearly squeezed inside Diego Nin's post there, and you got to say it's probably one of Australia's best chances of the game so far.
It's certainly the closest it's been to net.
Oh, Leolio Davis!
It's gone wide.
Oh, and he was able to seize on that clearance from the goal kick and shoot it straight back.
But Australia have a chance to give Uruguay a taste of their own medicine if they can make it work.
Well, can the captain, Dimitri Leolio Davis, swing this game in Australia's favour? You just feel like there's a bit of a momentum shift now. Beck Evans not able to take possession. Diaz, now Merkus. Merkus again. In comes Evans, and here is Merkus. Marco Diaz.
Oh, and on the back wheel of Josh Merkus. It's going to be whistle against Uruguay. Referee just making sure Josh Merkus is all right.
So explain why he would have that check-in with Josh Merkus there.
So a contact on that part of the chair is quite violent through your back and other body parts. And if you are a P1 player like Josh Merkus is, your hands really get roughed up by those sorts of hits.
Another free kick for Australia. Game has become increasingly battlefield as it's gone on. One-on-one duels, big tackles. Fran here trying to close down Leolio Davis. And now he gets another chance here to move the ball. Dimitri Leolio Davis. Brian Medina guarding him all the way down to the post. Leolio Davis trying to find Merkus with a pass back. Merkus, he's got a block. Brian Medina now to trap the ball in for Australia, but Brian is clever. Brian Medina continues. Now it's up to Beck Evans to shut him down. Francisco Wild with the shot, and Tristan Peters had his angles covered. Well, Uruguay just persisted there. They persisted and forced the ball forward by any means necessary.
And that's all they had to do. They had the lead. They just had to keep it down this end. Leave Australia no chances.
Deflection is kind here. Evans back to Merkus, back to Evans. She's going to be challenged here by Brian Medina. Can Evans use the ball control to evade this one-on-one, though?
She's doing a really good job in this battle. Flicks it out. It's on to Diaz, however.
Diaz back to Brian and saved initially by Peters and then deflected out for an Australia kick-in. Lots of encouragement and instruction coming from the Australia sideline. The Uruguay co-coaching duo has just been on their feet, riding every single pass of the ball from minute one.
Certainly been playing with high emotions.
And a 2-on-1's been called. It's Australia's free kick. Fran and Brian got too close together on that occasion. Evans. Ball goes back to Merkus. Great pass. Dimitri 𝐏𝐨𝐰𝐿𝐏 and the net's open here for Evans. Oh, didn't make the contact she was hoping for. Saved again. And then just wide. Brilliant defending down on the goal line. And now Diego Nin will clear it away. Well, we had the perfect angle there to see how much of the net that Beck Evans had to aim for. Australia, the chances are coming. They just need the finishing touch.
It was the right play. She was right there. She just didn't time it perfectly. It went back to the far side where the keeper was. We were very nearly back level.
And it's a very heavy ball. You need to really strike it sweetly. You need to time your movements in order to strike it firmly from distance. Evans now seeking to turn provider. Blocked at the near post and can't find Leolio Davis. Diego Nin, not the type of goalkeeper to venture out of his penalty area we've seen in this game. This is as far forward as he's gone for the match. And then a physical challenge here.
And he's
been yellow carded for how he went in on Dimitri Leolio Davis there. Explain why that one merited a yellow card.
Well, one would assume that's multiple offences. You can't go in the book for dangerous contact unless it is a straight red. So it will have been multiple offences of the same nature.
So, yellow card, first and only of the game so far for Diego Nin.
Memphis takes his time. Referee now blows the whistle.
And counter-attack could be on here for Uruguay. Australia have got to get back and shut the gate. Look at Tristan Peters. Out of his area he comes. And he's done very nicely in order to win a kick-in.
Brilliant work there by the goalkeeper. It's an Australian ball.
The Uruguay fans on the other side of the arena didn't like the call, but the referee, assistant referee, was right on top of it, had perfect position, and now Evans' shot rolls on, requires a save. Leolio Davis is going to wheel around and try to cut it back. Merkus, and out for another kick-in.
Momentum is starting to shift. Australia is moving forward. Do they have enough time? 11.5 to go in the match.
Brian. Now Merkus. Oh, the ball's gone way up in the air. Who gets the decision? That'll be a set ball.
It'll be a set ball. Whenever it goes in the air, it's always a set ball. So both teams will line one player up 1 metre away. And then they will engage.
It's going to be Beck Evans against Francisco Wild to contest this set ball.
Wild looks a tiny bit closer than Beck Evans at the moment. We'll wait and see what the referee judges.
Battle of wills. Leolio Davis anticipated where the ball was going to go, and now he's got half the arena to work with. Out comes Nin, the goalkeeper. He's done brilliantly to stop Leolio Davis. There's shouts for a 2-on-1 because the goalkeeper left his penalty area, and the referee does not heed them.
The Australians certainly feel hard done by that call, and I don't blame them. Other referees probably wouldn't have given it. Coaching box does need to calm down though, however, they do not want to let it, they should not want to let a yellow card.
𝐿𝐨𝐿𝐿 Davis, what a difference he's made since coming into the game. And kick in, going Uruguay's way. 10 minutes to go. 3/4 of the way through the action. And the score is the same as it was at halftime. Uruguay 1, Australia 0. Bryan, Diaz, Evans. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis advancing onto the ball. Can't take control of it though, and it runs out for a kick in.
Did well though to ensure that Uruguay had a good 3 or 4 metres less than they were going to have off the original Evans pass.
𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis again. This time Ninner's back. However, he's got to deal with Evans.
Taking it to the sideline. It's gone out with another Uruguay kick in. Very deep in their own half though, however.
Well, this second half lineup has really turned the game in Australia's favour, but they need a goal to show for it. Two-on-one's the call, and two-on-one's the decision. Free kick Australia.
Tristan Peters very vocal with his calls for his 2 there. He is intensifying from the back.
And Josh Merkus has camped himself forward again for this free kick. Referee just resetting the goalpost before this free kick is taken. A hush falls over the arena. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis. Merkus back to 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis. Can't find a way through. Good defending by Bryan Medina. However, it is another free kick to Australia.
Another kick in fact. There will be substitutions, however.
And for the first time in this game, Uruguay about to bring on a new face. They haven't made a substitution for the entire game. Of course, it's rolling substitutions. You can leave the arena and come back.
There's large confusion here between the referees. Australian bench are very vocal.
Well, I think the Australian bench feel as though Uruguay have requested to make this substitution after the ball got out of play, and they would need to wait for one more phase, but instead it is Marco Diaz coming off, and he's replaced by Lucia Barbosa Doldan. First time we've seen her in the game today.
Australia just need to calm down. They're letting the emotions get the better of them. They need to calm down, otherwise they're not going to get into this game.
So let's see the reason that Uruguay have made this switch. Their goal scorer, the only goal scorer of the game, Marco Diaz, is off, and Lucia Barbosa Doldan is on. Merkus defended away. Peters, the goalkeeper, advancing up. Bryan Medina is there. He's going to take on Peters, and he's going to weave past. Evans comes across. It's surely a 2-on-1. The referee lets it slide.
Tristan Peters not engaging in the play. Continued driving away, not interfering.
And now the 2-on-1 goes Australia's way at the other end.
So the 2-on-1 rule has various caveats to it. If the second player is not actually in a part of the play, they are not impeded, they are not penalised for it. Peters was always running away from the ball, never a part of the play, able to not be part of the 2.
And Uruguay, the passing there doesn't quite stick, so Australia ball. Josh Merkus finds 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis, Beck Evans in the middle, and then Bryan Medina. He's playing a much deeper role in this second half, Bryan Medina, far more defensive. Six minutes of regulation to go. It's been Australia's half. Merkus. Evans wants 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis, and Medina knew exactly where the ball was going. Able to defend it out for a kick-in.
Aussie fans on their feet, they're starting to cheer, they're bringing their team home.
Now they've turned the crowd a bit. The Uruguay fans have fallen silent as the second half has worn on. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis, Evans not quite, blocked again. Good goalkeeping by Nin. Oh, and Lucia went for glory with the big left-footed swing at the ball, but not able to wheel around and send it up the field. Great touch by Evans. 𝐿𝐨𝐿𝐿 Davis, oh, and that, had he made contact, could have really challenged the keeper. Instead, it slides across the arena.
Could have and probably should have. That was a brilliant chance. Didn't pay off.
And Uruguay's two attacking stars, Fran and Brian, are both back in defence, and foul here. This time it's against 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis, and Francisco Wild was able to win the free kick. We're into the last 5 minutes.
𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis, they're very unlucky. It probably was a 2-on-1, but because he made that contact, whistle goes the other way.
Brian Medina, block tackle. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis trying to drive. Brian Medina came across and made it a contest. And the end result is an Australia kick in. And now Brian Medina straight to Tristan Peters. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis, he wants it to run on for him. Will it sit up? Brian comes across, has his angles covered. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis wheeling around. Now he's trapped in a 1-on-2, but it's legal because it's the goalkeeper involved in the penalty area.
Wins the corner there, 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis. They need to make it count. They need to make it count now.
So what corner routine do the Powerchair have?
Well, Merkus looks like he's blocking the defensive line. It'll be a long bomb to Evans. Defenders appear to have asked for position, so Merkus moves to the top of the box.
Dimitri 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis. Time Australia's enemy, increasingly so. Here's the cross, Merkus back towards 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis.
Another corner.
First time shot deflects behind. Looks like a shout from the bench has come for a variety of corner. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis again, this time.
This will be a third corner in a row. Pressure builds.
Batted away by the defender Brian Medina. 3 minutes to go.
Uruguay fans starting to sing once more. Both teams' fans know how crucial this is.
And we've got a break and play here.
Looks like players are being told where their position has to be.
Brian Medina, subject of the referee instruction here. Corner taken, gets the better of Merkus. He's going to go back and retrieve though. Barbosa Doldan, and the referee says 2-on-1 Uruguay. Too many players in the vicinity. Free kick Australia once again, but they're down to 2 minutes to go now.
This will be another indirect free kick.
Merkus, Evans.
She didn't quite get the contact on it she wanted.
Defence converges.
Sounds like subs are about to happen for Australia at the next play.
Well, they're going to be very late subs. Looks like Abdullah Karim's got the call. And Beck Evans, who's had Australia's best chance in this second half, comes off, and Abdullah Karim, one last burst to see if this can lead to an Australia equaliser. It could be so important in the final analysis of who ends up in the semi-finals at the end of the week.
Well, he's found 2 goals already today in the earlier match. He needs to find a couple here. Lots of noise from the Australian bench now.
Francisco Wild.
The voice has been sucked out of the Australian fans. They're all watching.
Peters, Karim. Well, he was trying for the pass for 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Davis, just didn't find the right angle, and we're down to the last 30 seconds of regulation time.
And that may be the final nail in the coffin here. That might be Australia done for this match.
Uruguay fans have found their voice again. They're singing once more. It has been a game played on a knife edge. Just the 1 goal the difference from Marco Diaz. Francisco Wild, quick 1-2 with Brian Medina, but the ball is coughed up. So Australia have got to go end to end. within 5 metres violation. And it's also going to be a yellow card here for Francisco Wild. So how much will this add on to stoppage time for Australia as we tick past the 40-minute mark? Merkus. Everything pretty much needs to be perfect for Australia from here. Leolio Davis touches it central. Brian Medina, as he has been all second half, in the right position. Merkus challenging Fran. Able to extract the ball. And the attempted shot.
2-on-1 in favour of Australia.
Well,
Good chance here.
The shot doesn't count because it's a free kick. And so Australia are committing numbers forward. Their net is totally open at the other end.
We are at the discretion of the referee. Fran was well inside.
Oh, he's going to be sent off. Oh, and that could be so costly because now he'll be suspended for Uruguay's next game. The desperation to win right here means Francisco Wild has picked up 2 yellow cards in 3 passages of play.
Well, the end of this match certainly has been controversial.
Well, Australia are piling forward. They've left their own net open, and Uruguay are now 1 short. We are 90 seconds into additional time. This is when Japan equalised against Uruguay in the last game. Are we going to get late drama again?
Will the play be to Abdullah Karim? Peter's trying to block out Lucia Barbosa.
So, Uruguay are now playing 3 against 4. An equaliser here, and the arena's going to go off. Can Australia execute at the most important moment here? Uruguay clinging on to 3 precious points. This could be a spot in the semi-final on the line here on day 2. Karim. Leolio Davis. Merkus again. Karim! Karim! Oh my goodness!
The miracle man does it again. 2017 World MVP finds the equaliser.
Australia have leveled it up in the 3rd minute of additional time, and it is their magic man, Abdullah Karim, who's done it again. How much left in the game?
They need to play up here. They could still win it, you know.
Don't forget, Uruguay, due to that red card, are still down to 3 players. The restart, the full-time whistle. Have Australia just saved their tournament? They don't get to win, but that draw could be so important.
Oh, what a finish. What a finish. Here in the Quaycentre in Sydney.
Well, I think everyone who came here to the arena today is going to be going and telling people, check out Powerchair football. Check out this World Cup. How about the finish to that game? The very last phase of play, Australia, that draw could be so important.
What is it with Uruguay and Australia? And final scores ending 1-1.
Well, you make a great point, just like it was in that famous World Cup qualifier. But here, well, you'd have to say Australia will feel as though first half Uruguay, second half Australia is 1-1 a fair result, Tom Byrne.
Well, if it counts the scores like that, certainly is. Uruguay probably feel like they let that one get away, and they certainly did. A very late red card made space in the field, and then Australia got that goal to bring it home.
That could prove so important for Uruguay going forward, just like the red card for Argentina earlier today. It's a red card for Uruguay, and the suspension will have to be served tomorrow. In the meantime, the Poweroos, they have 1 win, 1 draw and 1 loss after 2 days of competition here at the FIPFA Powerchair Football World Cup. Don't forget, it all starts again at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Tom Byrne, thanks for joining me.
It's been a pleasure.
And on behalf of all our broadcast partners, we hope you've enjoyed Day 2 action. Make sure you follow Day 3 right where you've been following the tournament up until now, and tell your friends, tell anyone you know that Powerchair Football is having its biggest tournament in 6 years. It's been a long wait for a World Cup, and it still has 4 more days to go. My name's Teo Pellizzeri. Thanks for your company. Good afternoon.